Alright, welcome back. It is, again, the next day. I am doing this episode straight from the couch. I have a beautiful sun coming in from outside. And I just want to start off with saying that in this episode, we'll be publishing our app to the internet. So it will be actually accessible. We'll also come up with a domain name, claim the domain name, and make sure that everything is working. Now, before we go into the nitty gritty of getting it online, which is actually pretty easy, I just want to start off with a few changes that I asked AI to do. I asked it to, first of all, if you can remember, the chat was a little bit glitching in the dark mode. I asked it to fix it so it looks clean in the dark mode as well. Other than that, I asked it to also update the loading animation so that the loading animation is actually clean looking and somewhat a higher user experience. I asked it to do it for every page, and then what I did is I also asked it to add skeleton loading. And what skeleton loading is I will show you in a minute, but it's basically going to, like a preloading animation before the data is even shown in the UI. So anyway, I did all of that stuff and I asked it to do it on every page. Then what I asked it to do is please redesign the onboarding to be more high-end, but of course include the emoticon still. Also add smooth animation so it feels like high-end. Keep the content the same, the questions the same, and also make sure it's optimized for dark mode because it wasn't optimized for dark mode as well. I then attached a screenshot of the onboarding that we have now in the new version of the starter kit. Then it did some things, and I didn't really like the first few versions, so what I did is it generated, and then I just went back to this prompt and click enter again, because if you do that, if you can remember in the last episodes, it reverts the changes and it reapplies it. I just clicked on it a few times until it got a design that was pretty nice. Then I just asked it to add some animations as well, update the page layout a bit. So anyway, I just asked it to keep improving it a few times, right? So let me just show you how it looks like right now. There's a little error here. Let me just create a new account. Let's just call this test@test.ai, and it should show up the new onboarding. There we go. So this is the new onboarding, and this is all generated with AI. Again, I just told it to keep optimizing it, look at competitors. It doesn't have access to the internet, but it came up with this, and this looks fucking clean. Like, honestly, I would use this for every app now. So I'm going to check if I can maybe include something like this in the starter kit by default. But yeah, as you can see, this is fucking clean, right? So you come here, and let me just reload. You got a little animation there, and you then just select whatever you would like to do. For example, this. Of course, we could add some pictures here, but I just wanted to show you this quickly. Let's just do some options. So as you can see, it's way smoother, you know? And then we click on Start Journey, and then it finishes the onboarding, right? So we could add like a welcome pop-up or whatever, but anyway, it's MVP, right? So if we go to the database, it should also show up in here. Yep, there we go. So as you can see, the information that we just entered. So it's all working, and then we got the information of the user. This main episode is of course all about just getting it to the web. Make sure that before you follow the next steps, you have pushed all the changes to your GitHub repository. So just do that with pnpm git, choose one, do the changes. So let's just say updated onboarding for now, and then do it again, and then choose option 2, and it will push to GitHub. Perfect. So now you're all set. Then what I want you to do is I want you to open up Vercel. There's a button below this video, and you will be redirected to Vercel. Now, Vercel is going to be the platform that we'll be using to host our application. So normally what you have, you've got all of these servers that are hosting apps and websites and whatever. These days we don't really see it, right? For example, with a Shopify, you just publish a store and the store is live. Now, what's actually happening is Shopify has got a lot of servers on the behind the screens. Right? And so what Vercel does is they handle all of that for you. So instead of you setting up a whole server and doing all of that stuff, you just connect your GitHub repository. They take that application code and they deploy it for you on the internet, right? So they take care of all the servers, the hosting, the whatever. So I want you to just sign up right here. If you go to login and then connect with GitHub, that's the easiest way. Let me just do that. There we go. What I want you to do is I want you to click on import project, and then what you can do on the left side here is search for your repository. For me, it's called Crafter Demo, and it's in my personal account, not in the Crafter account. Let me just select my personal account, and then I see right here 2 minutes ago there's a change made, Crafter Demo. So I click on import, and then I give it a name. So this will be the what's it called again? Fit Genius AI. And the next thing we'll do is we'll make sure that this is Next.js. Go ahead and skip all of this and go to environment variables. So just expand this option. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to cursor again, then go to the end file. So if you go to the left, you will find a .env file, it should be in your project. And as you can remember, during the setup, you use this file to add all your integrations, right? So you created the accounts and then you got the API keys and whatever. And all of that stuff that you did in the setup, it's all in this file. This env file is not included in your Git repository. This is like secret information, right? So let's say you have a public Git repository. A lot of people have public codes, right? They publish it publicly. You don't want your secret details to be shared with anyone, okay? So this is all yours and this is stored locally. So because of this, Vercel's asking us for these environment variables so they can store it while they are running your application on the server. So what I want you to do is I want you to copy paste all of these environment variables into Vercel. Now you can skip for now the first one, the next public app, because we're not going to use localhost, of course. We're going to use a URL from Vercel first, and then we're going to link our own domain name. Now what you will need to do is just copy paste all of the other stuff. So for example, database URL, we go in here and we'll paste it right here. And then for the value, it is literally what is behind the equation. So we'll paste it right there. Then we'll go to the next one. We'll do next of URL. Oh wait, we can skip that for now as well. We go to next of secret. We paste it in there. Boom, boom. And you do this for every little thing, okay? So you do this for the client ID, the client secret, Stripe, all the stuff if you had it set up. This one as well. Upstash, resend, all of this stuff, you basically just copy paste it, okay? So I'm going to copy and paste all of it and then come back to you in a minute. If there is a specific field which you, of course, had not filled in or there's no value behind it, you can just skip it, okay? You don't have to add everything. Just add everything that has a value behind it. That's it. And then you click on deploy. There we go. So it's now doing all of the stuff for us, as I said, like setting up these servers and doing all of that stuff, giving us an error. PNPM outdated log file. So what we are going to do now is click on copy right here, go back to cursor, and we're going to ask our mighty AI to look into this. So I'm just going to paste it, click on enter, see what it does. Okay, so it's giving us a command. Let's just click on enter. So what I'm going to do is it's going to try to rebuild it locally, but of course we want it in Vercel. I'm going to click cancel. Now I'm going to commit this again. So I'm going to do pnpm git, do 1, and then I'm just going to call it deployment failure fix, whatever, and do 2. Then I'm going back to Vercel, and let's just go to project. And if we go to deployments right here, so these are all the options we got for your project. If you go to deployments, you can see that the deployment that we tried to do earlier failed, and that there's a new deployment which is currently building, right? So it's now building the application to be accessible online. Now let's just click on that and see what happens. So you remember the terminal that we have in here, and when we ran the server locally, we've got a similar terminal right here. So if we just do build logs, expand that, you can see exactly the same stuff going on right here, right? So any errors that we might face will eventually show up here, just like it was always doing in the console right here as well. So let's just wait. This might take like 1 to 2 minutes, and then we should end up with either a failure or a completed deployment. All right, there we go. So we got another failure. And again, here, let's just select all of this, then go back into cursor and paste this and just click enter. So this is how we solve bugs these days, okay? So all we need to do is just copy, paste it in there, and we repeat the process until the deployment is actually successful. Right, so now it's fixing that error as well. Every time that we now push something with pnpm git, it will not only save to the GitHub repository, but Vercel's immediately going to recognize like, hey, you made a change, and it's going to immediately try to redeploy the application. Update the existing application that is currently hosted on the internet with your new updates. So we got an other error again. It seems like there are just some errors in multiple files. So let's just keep doing this until we got a successful build still. Okay, so instead of deploying and waiting 1 minute and 30 seconds all the time, what we can also do as an alternative approach, but I just wanted to show you that if you ever face a error in Vercel, you can just copy and paste it and it will fix it. Another way to do this is indeed like it's recommending here by running pnpm run build. This is going to do basically exactly what Vercel is trying to do. Let me just show you. If I expand all of this stuff as you can see, if I scroll down here, it is running the same command. Okay, it's running pnpm run build. And so if there's any errors that will be shown in here, it will also show up locally if we build it. So we can just run this command locally as well. This is a bit faster, but you can do both ways, right? Because this is going to also give us immediate feedback like, hey, this is not right. The build failed because of this and this. So let's see. Okay, so as you can see, there's another error. So instead of waiting 1 minute and 30 seconds to find out there's another error, it is solving itself. I was not aware of that, but it's immediately recognizing that this is the issue, and it's immediately making a change and then trying to build it again. So let's see what happens now. Still gives another error. This is actually way faster, but the more you know. Still the same error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this error, and instead of, it actually came up with another solution. Let's just wait and try this one. Still, oh wait, now it's another error. So now it found another error. Now it's going to apply changes to the other file as well. Okay, now we got another error. Let's see how it handles that. Okay, so it looks like it's succeeding now. Yep, it succeeded successfully. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and commit these changes. So pnpm git 1 and then do 2, and then we go back to Vercel, go back to the project, go back to deployments, and wait until this one is built. At least the building errors are solved, so it should now at least deploy it successfully. And if there's any other errors, then it might be an error with the environment variables or Vercel. We'll find out in a minute. All right. So as you can see, it took 2 minutes and it successfully deployed, which is fucking amazing. So what we can do now is we can click on the deployment and we can go ahead and visit FitGenius AI Vercel app. It will bring us to our actual application, as you can see here. Now we actually got another problem because Google does not recognize our URL. As you can remember earlier, let's go to the Google console. You went to API and services, to credentials, and then you created a client ID right here, right? So just find the client ID that you created. And in here, you did the localhost URL, and we did a random, well, at least I did a random domain name. Maybe you didn't. We haven't added the actual domain name that Vercel is using right now. So Google is not recognizing the domain name and is rejecting any calls. It's like security. So what we need to do is we need to just copy the domain name of the app and put it in here. Then what we need to do is also replace this one, so it's in here as well, and click on save. Now once you have done that, it should immediately work. So let's go back to our application. Let's just refresh real quick, sign in with Google. So you can see it works now. So let me just click on a account, and there we go. As you can see, the app is now live. You've successfully deployed your fucking app. Okay, congrats. The next thing you would like to do is, of course, have a actual domain name. I'm going to go to GoDaddy and I'm going to buy a random domain name. So let's say the domain name we want is fitgeniusai.com. See if it's available. Okay, yes it is, but it's fucking expensive. Are there any other ones that are cheap? Okay, so I see the .nl domain is €5. Let's just do that one. I'm from the Netherlands. All right, there we go. So it cost us a grand total of €6, and we now got the domain name. So let's just skip all of this stuff. Now let's go back to Vercel and let's go to the project, then go to settings, and in here you will find domains. Now we'll click on domains, we'll click on add, and then we'll just, I forgot the domain name, what was it? FitGeniusAI.nl. Let's just type it in right here. FitGeniusAI.nl. We'll keep everything else the same and click on add domain. Then what we can do is we can just select the recommended option, click on add, and that's going to give us this error. Now we go back to GoDaddy, we go to domain and then DNS settings. And in here, we're going to add whatever was shown in here. So as you can see, it asks us to add a record in the DNS settings. If you're not familiar, don't worry, just stick with me. I copy this value. There you go. And as you can see, it says like, hey, the type must be A, the name must be add. So we go back to GoDaddy, we say like, hey, new record, the type must be A, the name must be add. There we go. Then we paste in the value right there. We choose custom, TTL, and then put in 600. Then click save. Now the next thing we need to add is another record with the type CNAME, name www, and then paste this value in there. We'll do exactly the same. The type CNAME, name www, paste in the value. Click on custom, enter 600, and click on enter. Oh, Apparently there's another www record. Let's see. Yep, there is. So let's just change this one. CNAME www, and I will paste the Vercel provided value in there. Put this to 600. Click on save. There we go. So, well, we can remove this one that we tried to add. Now we have followed the instructions of Vercel, and we can click on refresh. If it doesn't immediately recognize like, hey, these records are added, don't worry about it. We can come back later to this domain name and it will automatically recognize it. It takes like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and then it should automatically recognize it. Now, in the meanwhile, let me explain to you what's next. So now you've deployed your first application, right? It is totally live. In the next video, we'll do the marketing landing page and stuff like that. But I want you to now understand that you've got everything set up, basically, okay? So let's say you've got your app live. You've got your first few users, and you got your first feedback, right? Users say like, hey, I don't really like how the colors are on the UI. It doesn't match the logo, right? So what you can do now is you just go back to your cursor as you were used to, and what we can say is like, hey, I don't really like the current colors that we have on the dashboard page in both the light and dark mode. Please check what colors we have in the logo and make sure that we use the same colors that we have in the logo so it matches the UI and it looks more high end. Okay, so a little bit more clean, and look at competitors and make sure it is a high-end user experience in UI. Some random fucking keywords. And what we're going to do is we're going to immediately implement that user feedback, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to now update the existing app, right? Because everything is there. Of course, the domain is still connecting, but everything is published already. And so what we can do now is we can just immediately ship these changes that we make to the application. Perfect. So what we can do right now is we can just immediately, let me just open a new terminal, do pm git, do one, say like, hey, this is a UI update. We updated the dashboard. Do 2. There we go. And it will immediately update the live app. Let me just go into dark mode again. It will immediately update the live app again. So as you can see, if we go to deployments, it immediately ships the update, right? So if we go to our application that is hosted by Vercel, it should show up in a minute. So this way you can quickly ship like features, implement user feedback and stuff like that. I just wanted to show you that so that you have an idea of how easy it is now once everything is set up to keep working on your application. So as you can see, it has successfully deployed the changes that we just pushed to the GitHub repository. So let's say I'm the user and I'm on the domain name, which soon will be the fitgeniusai.nl domain name, and I refresh, I will immediately see the changes that you just shipped. There you go, which is fucking sick, right? So I just want to show you that, and other than that, we've got our first app live now. All right, I just refreshed the Vercel page, and as you can see, everything is set up. So that's fucking amazing, which means if we go to fitgeniusai.nl, we see our application. There we go. So as you can see, guys, it's as easy as that. We've now connected and deployed our application. The URL is working fine. Now the only thing we need to do, don't forget to do that, is of course add this URL to the Google Cloud Console as well. So let's just go and do that straight away. Go to API and services, then go to the credentials, find the credentials you're using in your application, and go ahead and add the URL right there. And also add it below here, and make sure you copy paste the API stuff to be there as well. Then click save. And then if we go back to the application, refresh, log in with Google, everything is working. So that's it for this module. In the next module, we'll go over creating a landing page, actually creating super cool like feature videos so that we can use that on the landing page as well. We have a pretty cool tool for that as well, and we're pretty much ready to go. So if you followed all these steps and built your app until this point, I want to congratulate you, since you have now finally got your first application live. See you in the next video.